Alright, everybody. I've got very sad news for you all today. Many of our childhood dreams have been stolen from us, just steps before we were able to achieve it. You see, when I was a kid, I practically grew up on the internet from like 10 to now, right? Like I spent a lot of time on my computer once I got one. And so a lot of my cultural development as a person came from the internet, and particularly from the gaming community and just being, a gamer and being online from a young age. And when you're like a young gamer and you're growing up like in the early 2010s, around that time, something that very quickly becomes like a second Christmas for you. A second Christmas for gamers, for lack of a better term. Like a second birthday, too. There are three things you'd be excited every year for as a gamer. Birthday, Christmas, E3. The Electronic Entertainment Expo. 3 E's. As, each thing starts with an E, and so they call it E3, because, you get it, right? It's not that complicated. Anyway, it's clever, though. Apparently, E3 started way back in the 90s, which surprised me when I first heard about it. But, obviously, every year, I would be excited for E3, because it was this consolidated day where almost every single upcoming game release that would be worth being excited for in the near future was announced all at once. All the games. So you would just wake up, oh, E3 happened today. Oh shit, let me get on YouTube and see all the new game trailers. Because even games that weren't at E3 dropped their trailers on that day because that was the day to drop your game trailers. So it was like Christmas Day, just a wave of new games being announced. And obviously you had your mainline franchises like Assassin's Creed, COD, so on and so on, which always got a new game announced, and so you're curious to see what the new one was going to be. But then there were whole new franchises getting announced, sequels to games that you really liked, but you never really expected them to get a sequel. And I really miss those times, because it kind of feels like we've lost that in the last couple of years when COVID happened, and they announced they were temporarily, or I should say indefinitely, canceling E3. Indefinitely doesn't mean forever, it just means unless said otherwise. So there was still just a sliver of hope we might get a E3 back. That is until a couple days ago, when we got this news. E3 is permanently canceled. That's right, those dreams I had of watching YouTube videos as a kid and just wishing so badly I could go to E3 myself and be there as an adult to witness new games, new hardware, new consoles, new peripherals, whatever it may be getting announced, there, live with everybody, there to witness the hype of everybody else and to be part of it. That dream can never be fulfilled. I'm sure at some point a new group will come along to basically take E3's place, but at the time being, there is nothing like that. The Game Awards is not really... I don't really see it as on par. I just don't. I don't. Wasn't God of War 2018 announced at E3? Do you remember that, like, famous video where, like, they first announced the game and unveiled it, and the entire audience freaks the fuck out? I'm pretty sure that was at E3. Like, E3 was just a massive convention center filled with stadiums of people, with a big, like, movie theaters, basically, where they would announce games. And the idea behind it was that it would be a surprise when they did the main event, like, what games they would cycle through announcing, Yeah, gosh. It's so sad. It was? Oh, let's look at the video. Dude, okay. Let me just give you guys a peek into how hype E3 was, okay? This is from E3 2016. I know this is uploaded back in 2021, but this is from E3 2016. I believe it was the same E3 that The Last of Us 2 was announced at. Gosh. This was just one room of the building at E3. This was just the Sony room. So people were there, and there were speculated games, like people, like by this point, Sony Spider-Man 1 had already leaked, so people were expecting that. It was not Sony Spider-Man 1 that got announced this E3, but it was something people did not expect. God, this is so nostalgic.
That dumb hammer doesn't scare me.
Imagine being in the audience for this.
Boy,
No one knows what this is.
boy.
That's the game director. He's nervous as fuck. Because this is live gameplay, and the game director is up on stage, pretending to just be some guy. And he's nervous
Your
as
mother's
shit
knife.
unveiling the game to the world.
It belongs to you now.
Wiping the sweat off, yep.
What for?
He's nervous.
A test. She taught you to hunt, yes?
Yes, sir.
Then show me what you know. I am hungry. Feed us.
Dude, could you imagine being in the crowd for even one announcement for a game that is that hype? I know we've got BlizzCon and like the PlayStation events and the Xbox events, but it's also disjointed now. Everything's been split up to a bunch of different events. You can't get your one ticket, save up for that one ticket a year, that one vacation a year, where you go to the gaming convention, where everyone's at. Your favorite YouTubers, your favorite like game directors, your favorite like competitive gamers, your friends are there. I know, Gigasoy and all that, but come on, let people enjoy things. I feel like COVID did this thing where it shutting down so many conventions allowed for this sort of like growth on the internet of unironically shaming people for liking any form of escapist media to the extent that they like get excited for it, you know? Like I feel like the soy meme in response to enjoying things, it came and really hit its like popularity peak during COVID, when all of like the conventions and stuff were shut down. And so all that kind of culture wasn't able to sort of flourish online as much as it normally would. And we had this sort of really pessimistic, you can't like things idea sort of take off. Does that make sense? It's the end of the road for what was once the biggest gaming showcase, as its parent company has confirmed that E3 has been canceled forever. It's official. E3 is dead. The long-running Electronic Entertainment Expo has faced numerous challenges over the last several years, and after a failed attempt to revive it, once again this year, its parent company has confirmed that it's ending the gaming showcase. Where is even the profit in this, though? I'm actually curious. Like, was it really that unprofitable to run E3? I feel like... wasn't it run by Sega? Maybe. After more than 2 decades of hosting an event that has served as a central showcase for the US and global game industry, the Entertainment Software Association has decided to bring E3 to a close. ESA, I guess, not Sega. ESA President and CEO Stanley Pierre-Louis said to the Washington Post, "We know that the entire industry, players and creators alike, have a lot of passion for E3. We share that passion. We know it's difficult to say goodbye to such a beloved event, but it's the right thing to do given the new opportunities our industry has to reach fans and partners." Fuck off. People like that. What do you mean, new opportunities? If they're worse, clearly. E3's downward slide began several years ago as major partners like Sony, EA, and Nintendo pulled out of the annual event and instead opted to hold their own individual events during the not E3 season. Ah, there you go. The worst fucking companies in all of the gaming industry all splintered off to force people to buy tickets for their own individual event and have exclusivity over their showcases of their games. Nintendo has been the worst about it. For those that don't know, and people love the dick ride Nintendo in my chat, but I will never stop shitting on Nintendo. Nintendo literally, and they still do this to an extent, but it was so much worse. There used to be a time where if you showed a Nintendo character, like a clip art of a Nintendo character in one of your YouTube videos, Nintendo would copyright strike your entire channel. A strike. You could not stream or upload Nintendo games. You could not upload animations or memes involving Nintendo characters. They would fucking axe the shit out of you. Nintendo is possibly the most ruthless and anti-consumer company in all of the gaming industry. I think they actually beat out EA. The only thing they've got going for them is they make good games. They actually do make good games. The game developers they have enslaved are doing good work. Konami, what about them? Yeah, basically imagine what Konami did to Hideo Kojima times 10 or like 1,000 because however many employees there are at Nintendo. Like, do you think the people who worked on Breath of the Wild got to go up on stage? The majority of people who worked on Breath of the Wild got to go up on stage and accept an award about it? Or do you think they were forced to stay at the office and work? I am a Nintendo hater, an official, certified, bona fide, boner-fide, if you will, Nintendo hater, okay? I hate their consoles, I like their games. It's as simple as that. And you can, frankly, play their games not on their consoles, which is, like, the best of both worlds, right? Like, isn't that the best of both worlds, to not have to pay Nintendo for either A, their consoles or their games, and to play their games with better performance on a better platform for free? With free online. By the way, the fact that you guys think there's a contest between PC and console, when console players have to literally pay for online services on the internet they pay for, on the console they pay for the game that they paid for, when with a computer it's just buy the computer, buy the game, buy the internet, you're good. It's insane. It is insane that, like, they released the PS4 and suddenly started charging you for live services like Xbox did, and you all just, like, ate it up. You just accepted it. You just accepted it, just straight up. You accepted paying monthly for online services. That's crazy. And the funny thing, too, is Fortnite has negotiated with both of those platforms to have free... Like, you can play Fortnite for free without Xbox Live if you have internet, or PlayStation Plus if you have internet. So there's no, like, physical limitation. They're just wringing it out of you, and you're accepting it when you have, like, computers as an option. Please, break the shackles. Break your own shackles, for God's sakes. I know I got a little sidetracked here, but I feel like it's related, you know? There used to actually be, prior to Gamergate and all that awful time, there was this time where there was a group of YouTubers on YouTube that made really good gaming content about, like, console versus PC. They were, like, PC Master Race, as they called them, content creators. And it was, like, a play on an obvious reference. But, like, the idea behind it was debunking these, like, torrents of videos made to explain why consoles were actually better than PC. And their videos were not smart, they weren't well made, and their arguments weren't good. So watching, like, Rags or Bulletberry, just, like, or Fratanga Plays, just, like, destroy those arguments was really satisfying, you know? It was always really fun. I miss that era of content. All three of those people have moved much more towards making, like, anti-woke content now, so... It's rough, but it is what it is. Gaming rots your brain, it turns out. Who could have thought?